Well, on that note, let's talk about this F-22 fighter jet shooting down another unidentified flying object over Canada, just at the order of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. This is now at least 4 objects shot down over North America in the last month. I don't know if they're getting trigger happy or not. Joining us now for more is retired Army Colonel and former Director of the Cybersecurity for the Department of Defense, Colonel John Mills. Sir, appreciate you being here.
Hey, Carl, and always an honor to be on your show. Thank you.
So Northcom, okay, not labeling the airborne object intercepted this weekend as balloons. So if they don't identify it, then why did they shoot at it? And furthermore, are they not telling us if they have identified it?
Yeah, Carl, and as you mentioned earlier, and with your experience in airspace, when you're engaging a target like this, part of the rules of engagement is a close visual identification. So yeah, it's a little odd what's going on here. So we have 4 shoot downs that we're aware of so far. Obviously, the one off of South Carolina, but then one just north of Alaska, the Alaska-Canadian intersection, way up north. One in the Yukon, that's the Canadian province right above British Columbia, right next to Alaska. And then one, in the most recent, was at Lake Huron. Looked like perhaps the Ohio Guard, or they mentioned the Air Guard F-16s. Weird. Different shapes in the reports. I think that's very telling. And the term, again, maneuvering capability, very interesting description.
Yeah. Well, Colonel, I want you to take a look at Karine Jean-Pierre not knowing what she's talking about. Listen.
Why is the American military shooting something out of the sky over Canada?
Because it's part of NORAD. The NORAD is part of it's a what you call a coalition, a consortium,
a pact of nations.
A pact,
okay.
Exactly. And so that's why we were able to do that. Again, we didn't do it on our own. We did it clearly in step with Canada.
It's the thing. Did she not know what NORAD is?
Yeah, that's a technical term we use all the time on the Joint Staff and combat commands. Is thingies. NORAD's a thingy, NATO's a thingy. Great descriptors. This is the victory of ideology over basic common sense and knowledge. I mean, she doesn't even know when to get off the stage. You can be whatever you want to be and just make it up, and truth and facts don't matter.
Well, I want you to take a look at this. Here's Senator Chuck Schumer making the rounds, talking about the first thingy balloon that traveled across the United States. Listen.
The first balloon, there was a much different rationale, which I think was the appropriate rationale. We got enormous intelligence information from surveilling the balloon as it went over the United States.
Didn't the Chinese get enormous intelligence as well?
Well, they could have been getting it anyway, but we have to know what they're doing.
Yeah, so I don't believe that we got enormous intelligence. We blew it out of the sky and it crashed in the water. But at the other point, too, I hate to agree with Chuck Schumer, give him credit for anything, but don't Chinese commercial jets fly over America every day, sometimes landing in places like Atlanta?
Oh, well, okay, so this is the reality. The Chinese have exploited a gap and seam. We gave away air defense, actually continental air defense, back in the 80s when we realized the Soviet bomber threat was almost nil. And modern airspace and national airspace system depends on compliant and cooperative aircraft now squawking on what's called ADS-B. The aircraft essentially are telling the controllers who they are, where they are. Radar is not being used, and radar is not normally being looked at in the en route air traffic control centers. A lot of people don't realize. They think the controller's looking at radar screens. It's ADS-B.
Yeah. Well, Colonel, there's a lot of moving parts clearly here that we could discuss this all day, but Colonel John Mills, we appreciate your insight on this.